FNAF World is canon, or it's going to be. In my last video, we went over the similarities between Roxanne Wolf and Virtua Freddy, as well as connecting the start of the game with events in Ruin. To add on to my theory, I realized the Mexis, which I'm calling the Mimic Exclusion Entity and Security, looked an awful lot like a tombstone, just like the tombstone in FNAF World, where you walk through a glitch, collect the Mimic Ball, just like the entire premise of Ruin. There's also a plot line in the books, Springtrap being locked in a tomb, being set free by Charlie on accident, just like Cassie in Ruin. Look at the entity. It's an AI attached to the Mexis. This design is very interesting. It makes me think of the glitch realm you walk through to find the FNAF 3 minigames. Hopefully by now, you've all seen FNAF's and Game Theory's separate videos about the almost one-to-one connection between the Silver Eyes trilogy of books and the recent games Steel Wool has put out. While doing some digging, I realized a few more supporting features. In the game, there's obviously a time jump between the actions of Security Breach and Ruin. Well, the story in the books just so happens to have a 1-year jump in between each other. So my bet is that's the case here as well. Then, in the Twisted Ones, Charlie modifies a hearing aid to allow the animatronic heads she's programmed to see and communicate with her. Otherwise, they just absorb data continuously without interacting with it. Sounds to me like the Vanny Mask and the Endos, remaining motionless until more data is in front of it. Putting on the mask does the opposite of the hearing aid in the book. It disconnects you from their vision. But the distinctions that are called out are the same form of technology. I also find it interesting that both FNAF World and the Silver Eyes were being produced and released at similar times. The winter of 2015 into the beginning of 2016. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe Scott had more plans than he let on. If the Silver Eyes story was translated into game in the form of Security Breach, and Ruin is on par with the Twisted Ones, everyone is speculating that the next game, Help Wanted 2, will align with the Fourth Closet. I 100% agree. But what about after? With the trilogy complete, where could the future of FNAF stand? Well, I believe that we will be taking a ride on a blast from the past and revisiting everyone's favorite and confusing story, FNAF World Reborn. Steel Wool has a history of putting little things in its games that foreshadow the upcoming releases. The use of AR and the Vanny Mask to disable a glitchy security network is so specific and a route that no one thought was coming. But it was intentional. And the existence of an AR game and its connection to the game universe has always bugged me since it came out. Until now. With the existence of Special Delivery, the AR game, it implies that all of the questionable iterations of our classic group actually exist. The Halloween, the Christmas, the Easter versions of all of the zany crew. They will all be canon. Digital and the real worlds in this universe are already colliding, as we see in Ruin. If they completely merge by the end of Help Wanted 2, which just so happens to be a VR game, and the assumption that AR will be a core component of that game, leads me to believe that the game after Help Wanted 2 is going to be the next FNAF World. A fully fleshed out RPG Final Fantasy style, just like old times. This time around, having learned from the previous mistakes of its predecessors and making the original canon. Just slap the good old Help Wanted style, it was Scott's fault on there, and it's good to go. But hey, that's just a theory.